Now tonight is meatloaf night, and we've invited the family, and we're not going to spend a fortune. So let me show you how. Before we start with the meat, let's just start with the onions. Now you know our golden rule: before you brown onions or cook onions, season them first and use the green onion seasoning. It emphasizes the flavor of the onion, and it allows the onion to wilt much quicker. And you will simply just get a better tasting onion that cooks much quicker. We've put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Now we add the onions. Swish them around. Put the lid on so that they will simmer slowly, and we can turn the heat to medium-low. Now the same rule applies that we always use. Before you start with any serious cooking, prepare the pan. And we're using a long double piece of heavyweight foil, and just fold it to the width of the bottom of the pan. Put the folded edge to the bottom, and then line the pan with this so that you have a bit of an overhang on both sides. This will make it easy for us to get the meatloaf out afterwards. Right, now the onions have now wilted nicely. They're not browned. We just want them softened and wilted. That's the right word. Now we've grated some apple. You can do 1.5 to 2 apples. Just saute the onion and the apple together. Now we put the lid back on, and we can switch the heat off and just leave it to stand, and it'll carry on cooking, and eventually it'll cool down. Now I know I sound so serious, but you know, making a meatloaf, it's like making mashed potatoes. It seems so simple, but it's so easy to make a mess of it. Now, one of the secrets of a good meatloaf is a little bit of gelatine powder. You simply sprinkle the gelatine powder over a bit of water and just wait for it to disappear in the water. That gelatine will swell up and keep all the moisture inside that meatloaf. Now we can add the egg to bind the meatloaf to that. Another thing that will give the meatloaf a lot of moisture is a little bit of bacon. Now this is about 1/2 pack of streaky rindless bacon, and we just cut it into smaller pieces. Bacon gets added. Now we come to the seasoning. Now we're seasoning it with some of our garlic pepper, which is always excellent with meat, especially with mincemeat. And then to give it that beefy flavor, we're going to add 1 sachet of our liquid beef stock to bind it a little bit more, to give it a bit of texture, and of course to give it the lovely herb flavors that we've got in our stuffing mix. We use about 1/2 cup of the stuffing mix in there. The other half of the stuffing we can put into a bowl and add about 3 tablespoons olive oil to it, and that gets sprinkled over the top of the meatloaf. So this gets added. Add the onion and the apple. Just mix it lightly with a knife first, and then there's nothing like your hand to do the final mixing. Don't over knead. Turn the bowl, bring it in from the outside to the inside. Now we've got our pan prepared. So we put roughly about half the mixture in the pan. In order to stretch the mixture, we've boiled some eggs. Don't overcook them. Boil them for about 6 minutes. You put a row of eggs down the middle. Then the rest of the meat goes on top of the eggs. Now you've got these delicious olive oil flavored crumbs to go over the top. Now it gets baked in the oven for roughly about 45-50 minutes at 180. Always a good idea to let any meat, including a meatloaf, rest a little bit before you attempt to slice it. Well, there's a board course for you. Only thing we now need is a little bit of gravy and perhaps a bit of white sauce on the vegetables. But the family will be very happy with this.